And then I've got these two dark horses. Colorado's a dark horse for this thing. I would be insane to not put Colorado in there as a dark horse for the Big 12. They're really talented. They might have the best quarterback in the entire league, and their skill position players are insanely talented. This is a team that went from 1 win to 4, where it's really threw away a couple of other wins. Should have been a bowl team last year, and everyone's like, well, can they go to a bowl? Can they go to a bowl? What are you talking about? Like, this team, I think, is an 8 or 9 win team, which puts them in the conversation in a deep quality league for a potential bid to the Big 12 championship game. If they keep Shedeur Sanders upright and he can throw to some of these talented players on the outside like Travis Hunter, watch out. Colorado's going to win a lot of games. A lot of games. They've got a difficult stretch early. North Dakota State, they play early. Nebraska, they play early. If they win both of those games, then watch out, because guess what? It's going to be 2023 all over again. That hype train is going to be barreling down the rails, and I might be driving it.
Welcome back to the show. Joel Klatt, when I heard you say that at the beginning of the season, I honestly thought, no, I thought you were crazy. I thought
yeah, I know.
Kamala Harris has cut you a check to hype Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes. You got the same $2 million as Oprah Winfrey.
Oh, man.
So what did I know what I didn't know, or what I didn't, I know what I didn't know. What do you think I didn't know about Colorado this year? Why was I so wrong?
Good question. I think because you were not evaluating the football, but you were evaluating everything that you disliked about the organization or the program. So you don't like the way that Deion has built or has gone about his business, which is your prerogative, but that's different than the actual, like, what is the team? Where are they strong? Where are they weak against their schedule? And that's what I was talking about. So before the year, if you go back before the year, and I touched on it a little bit in that little rant that you played from a preview episode in August, but to me, this was a team that had top level talent and probably the best quarterback in the league. And that quarterback last year got sacked 50 plus times. And in my mind, that's like horrendous. So you don't have to be great at protecting the passer. And this is what I think everyone got lost, is they thought, like, well, they're still not going to be great protecting the passer. But the problem is, Jason, all they needed to do was be better. There's a difference between being a great pass protection team and just being better than horrendous. And so I thought to myself, if they could keep the sack numbers to 30, 35, then some of those close losses turn into close wins, which is exactly what has happened. And then all of a sudden, those close losses turn into close wins, and you're right there, 8 or 9. And now you get into some coin flip situations late in the season against a league that, quite frankly, I didn't think had a lot of peaks. This is a league that is incredibly flat. And so, you get a little momentum on your side. You get the best quarterback, the best skill position player, and you keep them upright just better than horrendous, and you're going to win a lot of games. That's essentially what's happened. What I didn't see is that their defense was going to play better. Now, they didn't last week against Kansas, but their defense in general has played much better in the front seven. So those are the things that I was looking at. And I think that it's not that you didn't know that or see that or couldn't see that. I think that you were maybe blinded to that by what you thought of the program, generally speaking.
I'll say it this way, and maybe you're right, but I did not know that the receiving core was this talented and this deep. I thought Travis Hunter was good. I thought was obviously top flight. I thought, hey, they got some other guys that are good receivers. No, LeJontay Wester, Will Shepherd, the Miller kid, these guys can all play.
And so Jimmy Horn, who's been out.
Jimmy Horn, yes, yeah. And so I was like, holy cow, this is a buffet of weapons on the outside that's high level. Because I think all those guys will have some sort of NFL career. And then I didn't think culturally Deion could build a tough football team. And on that front seven and the defense, other than last week, has been tough. I didn't think he could do that. I didn't think his style could lead to that kind of toughness. Those are the two things I really felt like I underestimated. And you know, I just got to go hats off to him.
Yeah.
I also, to a lesser degree, I thought the Big 12 would be better than what it is. And I didn't know that the QB disparity between Shedeur and everybody else in the league, anytime you show up and your quarterback is that much better than everybody else's quarterback, you got a chance to win.
Yeah.
And so
and he's likely going to be the first quarterback taken in the draft, Jason. You know, I mean, like, he's played that well.
I don't like him at the next level because I think like Caleb Williams,
I would
he holds the
disagree
ball
with you.
too
I
long.
think he's more suited
the
for
ball
the
too
NFL. He's more suited to the NFL than some of the other college players. Now, you know, the hold the ball thing, and by the way, I'll come on in the draft and we can talk about all the quarterbacks, but
Yep.
the issue of toughness, let's touch on that, because I think what is lost this year with Deion, and what Colorado has done is that we immediately just focus on Deion, Shedeur, Travis, right? And then like, oh yeah, the defense has done a nice job. But if we're being really fair, Deion evolved really quickly from the time he got the job at Colorado until today. And I think that you'll see this once I lay this out. When he got the job, there was obviously a lot of bravado and the we come in and all this stuff. And I don't think you loved that. And I don't think you loved his first meeting with the players, even though the exact same first meeting takes place with every other new head coach in the country. They just don't put it on social media, which is the difference. Okay. So there's that. I'm not here to rehash all of that, but he leaned into some college schematics with his coordinators when he first got to Colorado. Charles Kelly, which was an Alabama defensive coach, and Sean Lewis, which was the head coach at Kent State. And the schematics that they were wanting to use were I would say, college-centric. And I think what Deion realized during the course of last year, after the hot start and then the abysmal finish, really, by anyone's standards, is that that's not him. And he and I have talked about this, and he thought to himself, no, I'm an NFL program guy in terms of I want to recruit players that want to play at the NFL, play at the next level. I like the NFL schematics. I want coaches that have touched the NFL. I want to create an environment where guys are striving for that. And it's not just so he brings in Pat Shurmur, he brings in Rob Livingston, he brings in Damian Lewis, the defensive line coach, he brings in Warren Sapp, and now all of a sudden 9 of the assistants have significant NFL experience, and the schemes have changed a little bit, and the practices have changed a little bit, and let's be honest, he's dialed down maybe a little bit of the outspokenness that you saw in particular early last year. They've recruited well. They got the right players, kind of in the right seats on the bus. And this is a different team. And everybody else in the country gets afforded the opportunity to change and evolve, and we all give them their flowers for it. And yet no one has really, and maybe this is my job and why I'm doing it right now, but no one's articulated the evolution of Deion just in his short time at Colorado with the way that he hired his staff and the way that they go about their business, but it has certainly worked.
Let's be honest. The insurance model is broken. Crowd Health puts your health care back in your hands. Use the promo code FEARLESS at joincrowdhealth.com. That's joincrowdhealth.com, promo code FEARLESS. Joel, here's something else I have to acknowledge about Deion, is that he and I have in common is because you go back early in my journalism career, and even to this day, there's a lot of bravado that comes along with me. And there's a lot of Deion was picking fights with coaches and other things. And I do that with people in the media. But I do it as well. I like to have pressure on me. Makes me get out of bed, makes me study harder. It makes me perform at a higher level because I put all this pressure on me. And that is, I don't know if it's by design. I'm going to give him credit and say maybe it is by design. Maybe he's figured that out about himself. But all the pressure that Deion put on himself made him evolve quicker than most coaches would. And that's why you have seen him lean more into humility. That's why he's made some adjustments. He put so much pressure on himself that he's had to elevate his performance. It's again, I have a bunch of critics. That's why I don't sleep at night and I try to perform at a really high level because I know people are going to come after me. Deion has actually benefited from me and other people that have criticized him, put pressure on him. It's made him better.
Yeah, you'll hear him say things like, you know, we aren't under pressure, we apply it, which I think is you know, maybe in line with what you're saying. I also believe that there's no need to ratchet it up. Like, let's say the meter is, you know, 1 to 10. Well, last year, because of everything that they were saying, it went to 10. And because of that, they took some cheap shots. Travis Hunter goes down. It derails their season. And it's like, hey, listen, the meter's already going to be above 5 just because. And they didn't need to add anything to take the meter to 10. It's like people are already gunning for them. People are already. So it's like, okay, let them. And then let's go out and get better and just be better than them. And I think that that's what they've done. I will tell you this. He is absolutely in line to be coach of the year. Now, whether he gets that or not, I'm not sure. You know, Curt Cignetti is certainly in that boat. Rhett Lashley is certainly. Oh, you can't argue that. You can't argue that.
Joel, come on, man. See, I'm from Indiana. This guy runs off 10 straight wins in the Big Ten. You know, everywhere he goes.
Well, that's what
wins.
I was just saying. Like the Rhett Lashley from SMU is going to be up for that. Ken Dillingham is going to be up for that. Curt Cignetti is going to be up for that. But Deion is in that conversation. He is in. If there was a 5-coached finalist list, he's absolutely within that. Now, again, like I said, I don't know if he wins the award with guys like Kenny Dillingham, Rhett Lashley, and Curt Cignetti, but he's certainly in the conversation. He turned the worst Power 5 program in the country for the better part of 2 decades into a team competing for a chance to go to a Big 12 title within a year and a half. That's pretty remarkable. Same as Cignetti at Indiana. This is a remarkable turnaround. Kenny Dillingham, a remarkable turnaround. These guys all have done an insanely quality job, and college football is better for it. They're better for it in every way, because think about the fan bases that are now engaged at the top level that would never be engaged at the top level 4, 5, 6 years ago because of what I would call like kind of that perpetual wheel of elitism in college football, where it was the same 5 and 6 programs that got the best players, played the easiest schedules, played for the national championship. And now all of a sudden there are avenues and there are paths for really quality coaches and guys that do it all different ways, whether it's Curt Cignetti, Rhett Lashley, Kenny Dillingham, or Deion Sanders, to go in and turn around a program and ignite an energy within a fan base that has, let's call it what it is, in all of those areas been totally dormant. So, you know, they used the new style of college football and have turned this around, and all of those guys deserve a lot of credit.
Let me ask this, though, and I don't mean this as a criticism of Deion. He's proven me wrong. He's a legitimate football coach, collegiate, even a potential NFL coach. Proven me wrong. However, and you would know, as it relates to the current Big 12, now that Oklahoma, Texas is gone, Missouri's gone, isn't Colorado spending as much money on their roster as anybody else, if not more, in the Big 12?
I do not think it's the most, but I believe, and I don't know this to be absolutely accurate, I believe it's in the top half. I would be pretty surprised if it's not in the top half. Utah spends a good amount. Other teams have invested very nicely. I'm really looking forward to the revenue share that's going to come from the House settlement that is supposed to settle, I believe, in April, early in April, Jason. I think that that's going to put almost every team from a revenue sharing distribution about on the same level. And it's going to take Colorado and likely double what they're giving to their players through that revenue share, and it will do that for the entire league. So I don't think that there will be the disparity that you're talking about here, where what's one program investing versus another, because that is right now vastly different. Like for instance, what Purdue is investing in football for Ryan Walters versus what Ohio State is investing in football for Ryan Day is not on the same planet. They are playing two different sports, in terms of the investment. What Indiana is investing in their program now for Curt Cignetti versus what they invested in their program for Tom Allen just last year are totally different, So that's why I'm excited for the House settlement, because I believe that it will produce a more level playing field as it relates to player compensation across leagues.
I don't have an answer for this next question. That's why I'm asking you. You're smarter than me.
No, I'm not.
It seems like, as it relates to Colorado football, you are. It seems like the hype this year, when the accomplishments are actually there, is less than the hype last year when they finished 4-8. I think even the TV ratings have gone down a little bit for Colorado. It doesn't make sense to me. Do you have a theory why that's happened?
I
should have prepared you for
I think
that.
the novelty of it, sorry, I know, I'm not, my Zoom is not frozen.
Yeah.
I was trying to think. I don't know if I have a great answer. I think that the novelty of it wearing off is part of what's going on. I believe them toning down the rhetoric themselves is part of what's going on. I also firmly believe that they have been, outside of us kind of showcasing them on Big Noon, they have been relegated to some interesting time slots at times from a television standpoint. And I think people in this country, who says this? I can't remember who says this. Someone talks about this whole thing of like Americans love fives, or they want everyone to be a five. They love zeros and they can't stand tens. So if they feel like, like you're getting too much or whatever, they want to take you down. They want to ratchet you down. And if they don't feel like you're getting enough, they want to boost you up. But they want everyone to be like a five. That's why no one likes Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs right now, because they're winning, so they want to bump them down. It's like, well, and they want to build somebody else up. They want to see the Lions win. And it's like, come on, we want to see the Lions. They've been a zero. We want to see them go up. And maybe that's a little bit to do with it. I don't have a great answer for that. I really don't.
Final question. I don't want to keep you forever, even though I could. He's the smartest guy
I'm
on
good.
football.
I've got a little bit of time. So whatever you want to chat about.
Oh, okay. I've made the argument that Deion's done such a remarkable job, he's going to reset the coaching market for contracts. I think Kirby Smart makes $13 million a year. I think Andy Reid makes $20 million a year in the NFL. I think there's going to be NFL interest in Deion. I've made the argument like, man, Colorado's going to have to pony up $20 million a year to keep Deion Sanders in Colorado. Am I right that he's going to reset the market? Is Colorado feel like they can keep Deion Sanders? Is this sustainable?
Oh, those are all great questions. I think for him to go to the NFL, it would have to reset the market. For him to stay at Colorado, it would not have to reset the market. I think those are two different. I believe he wants to stay in college. He has told me that. I believe that he feels called he feels like it is more his purpose to mentor. Like he loves what he's done for Travis and Jimmy Horn and a bunch of these guys. Charlie Offerdahl, a walk-on player at Colorado. He loves that. And I know deep down that he knows that it's harder to impact the human element of his team at the NFL level. Those are professionals, you know, and you're coming in, and that's so I do know he feels more called to college. I also know that the contracts in the NFL are much more rigid, you know, and at Colorado, you know, Jason, there's his publicized salary and then what the carve outs are for him as far as marketing and merchandise. And those are not, you know, public, if you will. That's not published in the USA Today list of what coaches make. Like Kirby Smart likely doesn't have a carve out for him to go sell smart gear. You know, does that make sense? Whereas Prime is enjoying all. I love that you're such a troll with the Oklahoma State.
Oh, we're all in on Oklahoma State. Yeah.
I bet you got the orange. Baby. You got the orange. You got, I mean, I knew it was going on. I was trying to ignore it. So I don't think that for him to stay at Colorado will have to break the bank. I think that his public salary would have to be at or above what Cignetti just got at Indiana. I believe that Colorado's business community, in particular in the Boulder area, needs to get involved and pony up because they have been the beneficiary of a windfall of economic boom over the last 2 years. And in general, the Boulder business community has been hesitant over the years, largely because it's been 2 decades of futility at Colorado. But the Boulder business community needs to get more involved in terms of sustaining the program and sustaining those things. I think that Colorado would need to get to between 8 and 10 from a public standpoint. But remember, with the carve-outs, he would be making much more than Kirby Smart does. I think that you know, Deion will be making more money than any college coach in the country if he stays at Colorado.
Not Deion, and you know better than I do because you know he blocked me on Twitter. So I'm not communicating with
you. You were, you know why, right? I mean, there were times when you were making it fairly personal.
I don't think I was making it fairly personal, but I hear you. You know, I'm a load. When I start criticizing, I'm a load. And if I were him, I'd be like, hey, man, I'm not going to deal with this negative energy. I got a team to coach and blah, blah, blah. I get it. In my view, not personal, but I hear others on that. But I just think Deion's going to need a public salary that makes it clear I'm the highest paid coach in college football. And then he'll worry about...
Well, you better win a league championship to do that. I mean, that's the thing is like, yes. And this is where, like, if I was sitting right in front of him, that's what I would say is like, the proof is in the pudding. We haven't seen you win without your son. Shedeur's a great player. Jason, he's going to get selected in the top 2 picks. I'm just telling you, I speak with GMs and coaches all the time. He is going to be the number 1 quarterback selected. And, you know, so this is where I would just, you know, and he wouldn't like hearing this from me because he doesn't like this type of thing. But I'm like, you got to prove it every year. You got to prove it every year. Travis Hunter is going to win the Heisman Trophy. Shedeur is going to be a top 2 pick. They might get selected as the 1st and 2nd overall player in the draft. That's a possibility. And so for me to just sit there and say like, well, yeah, he should absolutely be the highest paid coach in college football. I don't know that. To be the highest paid coach in college football, I want to see you win over cycles of recruits. That's the mark of a great college football coach. What made
just landed
Nick
a 5-star quarterback?
Well, and good. That's what I'm saying. We don't pay coaches just to recruit. You've got to take that 5-star quarterback and make him successful. So, you know, we pay coaches at this level for sustained success, and in particular, sustained success at the top end through cycles of recruits. We've seen coaches win with one pocket of recruits and they win at a high level, and then they go get their massive deals and maybe they jump and then they fizzle out. Look at Jimbo Fisher. Look at a lot of these different guys, and it doesn't sustain. Guys like Nick Saban sustain. Let's see if Kirby Smart can now go from Stetson Bennett, and it's like, can you win with another quarterback, Kirby? Can you? Like, let's see. Because we saw Nick Saban do it with different coordinators and different quarterbacks and different styles. So that's what I want to see out of Deion Sanders is, if you're going to stay at Colorado, they're doing the right things. They're investing. They're recruiting well. And let's see you win like this every year and continue to get better on the offensive line and continue to get better on the defensive front. Their performance last week against Kansas was terrible. It was awful. And as a coach, you've got to own that. Did I not prepare my team well enough? You know, because Colorado, Jason, this is where I'll be critical of the Buffs. So listen to me closely. When Colorado is playing the game in front of them, they're very good. They're very good. When they play the game all around them, it goes off the rails really quick. You know, when it's all about the taunt after the play, and when it's all about the trash talk after the play, and it's all about how are we going to get the ball to this guy or that guy, depending on his statistics and the awards that he could win, that's when they start to struggle during the course of games. But when they go out for that series and they say, how do we succeed on this series? Let's get the quick game going. Now let's go over the top. Let's do the things necessary to make first downs and make touchdowns. Then they're very, very good. That's my knock of Colorado this year. They went out and played Kansas, and they didn't play Kansas. They were playing everything else, and that's the quickest way to be defeated.
Joel, since I'm going to push the envelope here on time because I got at least one more question.
You got it.
Shedeur, what did you make of his push shove of the referee?
Oh man,
do you have any personality concerns with Shedeur?
He did less than I would have in the exact same instance. Kansas was cheap. The cheap shot that they took at his legs was one of the most egregious cheap shots I've seen on the field in a long time. And I am very thankful for Shedeur that his feet and cleats weren't firmly in the turf. Because if his cleats were in the turf, his career is in jeopardy after that despicable cheap shot torpedo at his knees in the open field. That was horrendous. And he didn't say anything. He got up. He was a little, shaken up. And then the same player comes after him again and is grinding him after the whistle, after the play on the ground. And then there's multiple Kansas players on the ground. And so he gets up and he's like, hey, what's going on? And the official is right there. And everyone's like, Shedeur shoved the official. Fine. I would have gone ballistic. This guy's potential in his career is through the charts. He's about to be a top 5 pick, probably the top pick in the NFL draft. And he's got this cheap shot taking place. And now the guy grinding after him, like he's got some sort of axe to grind against him personally. I thought it was cheap. It was uncalled for. I've called on Lance Leipold to handle that internally with the Kansas Jayhawks. And I commend Shedeur for only reacting the way that he did. Everyone's focusing on this idea that Shedeur shoved the official. Fine. I would put yourselves in his shoes and think about what had just gone on over the last couple of series and plays, and you would have done much worse.
I tend to agree with you and felt like no harm, no foul. As the ref didn't react, so why should we? It's not like the ref thought he got assaulted, so why should we? I tend to agree with you. This is my final question. It's Shedeur related. You're going to have to tell me why I shouldn't see, and I say this as a compliment, but also as a cautionary tale. What's the difference between Shedeur and Dak Prescott? I see the same player. I see a nice arm, but not an elite arm. I see a good athlete, but not an elite athlete. I see someone who's really, really tough, because Shedeur, that's what he's proven to me. It's like, man, this guy's really, really tough. I see Dak Prescott 2.0 with just more hype around him than Dak Prescott.
I disagree. I think coming out, there is a vast difference in their ability. Dak Prescott, even now, is not as accurate as Shedeur is now. Shedeur has a much better command of the game at this point in his career. The way I would describe Shedeur is that he is a really solid combination of surgeon and artist. And that's rare. That's really rare. When he is protected and he is in rhythm, it's surgical. The ball is out, it's on time, it's perfectly thrown. And then when things break down, he has shown this Archie Manning style, Stabler style ability to get away and elude and extend the play. It's not that he's a dynamic runner, but he is an artist when he extends the play. Now, does he hold the ball too long at times? Yes. Do I think that needs to get better? Yes. Is that something that you can coach into a player and develop into a player? Absolutely. So his command of the game, he's very smart. He knows what he's looking at. His ability to be accurate and surgical when everything is on rhythm is excellent. And then you couple that and you layer on top this idea that he's got some artistry that you can't coach, and that's what makes him so good. I think that he is a far better prospect than Dak was at this point in Dak's career, and will be a much better pro quarterback than Dak once he's in the NFL.
Joel, thank you so much for the time. Sorry we had the hiccups earlier. I blame all that on John Hadley. He's a bad luck and a curse.
Oh, man.
But, we've
been trying to do this for a long time.
Yeah. Look, I needed someone. It was either you or Matt McChesney, and McChesney cusses too much for me, and he's too emotional. I needed
that was my
teammate.
Matt was my teammate, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. He curses too much, and too much in the shtick and gimmick. But I needed someone to serve me some Deion Crow. Deion's done enough of it. He needed a little help from you guys. Joel, great call, great prediction at the beginning of the season. I literally thought you were crazy.
I know you did.
And, me and Hadley talked. Hadley was bad-mouthing you so bad early in the season.
I believe
Joel
it.
needs a therapist.
What is he doing? I've always known he was crazy.
Yeah. He used to this is the text I would get. He would be bad-mouthing you and then sending me horrendous NFL and college picks. Fading Hadley.
By the way,
you don't gamble. Yeah.
I'm 60% against the spread on my podcast. How do you like that, Hadley?
Yeah. Hadley's about 32%. He's just above Cowherd at this. Anyway, thank you, Joel. Appreciate it. Bud. Love you. God bless.
Same. Have a great
day. Yep. That's Joel Klatt.
That was good.
He's wrong about Shedeur is Dak Prescott. And I say, look, Dak Prescott's making $60 million a year. And so Shedeur may be that guy. But, anyway, I hope Deion watches this and knows, I'm eating crow. You served it up, I'm eating it. No problem. I don't turn down nothing but my collar. You know that. Anyway, thank you, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Don't miss a second of Fearless. Hit that like button and subscribe to keep up with our latest content.